Will the secretary please call the roll?
President Haggerty,
Yeah.
Vice President Robinson,
Here.
Treasurer Nardi,
Here.
Director Davis,
Boris, are you there?
Good be on.
you'll be on it. Director Walker, Director Vaqueros excused, Secretary Allen, just need to confirm quorum.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. I'll call the meeting to order. Will everybody please rise, face the flag? Gentlemen, please remove your hats. Good morning. First order of business is approve the minutes of 4/17/24 board meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We got a very busy schedule today, so we'll try to keep it right on track. The manager's report is next. Charlotte?
All right, good morning, everyone. As Jim said, we do have a packed agenda, so I'm going to try to move through this as quickly as I can. We'll start out with some third quarter highlights. One of the things we've done is acquired Starlink satellite systems as part of our disaster plan. This will help us ensure uninterrupted internet access post-storm, even if cell towers and internet services are down. The master board has also greenlit funding for a new communication tower and antenna for the radio club to enhance their range and capabilities of our disaster radio program. We also had a productive visit from Hillsborough County tax collector Nancy Millen, who will return for further discussions with us later in the fall. Also, thanks to the dedication of Rob Davies, Georgina Smith, and the rest of the pond committee, our first Adopt a Pond project is now complete. The county covered the cost of the plants, and they'll monitor them over the next 3 years, replacing any plants that don't survive. We're really excited about this program and continuing it, as we do have several other ponds already slated for the program. And of course, we were all excited that after 4 years of effort, the lawsuit between the Master Association and First Service was successfully settled. While the settlement amount remains confidential, corporate records requests can be submitted for those who are interested in more information. And additionally, with that lawsuit, I do want to mention, because it's really important, this was all over the return of documents, and we did recover over 360,000 documents. I would say lastly here, and most excitingly, the Master Association and Federation boards recently held a joint meeting, and they have committed to collaborating on community issues moving forward. Right now, they're working on scheduling quarterly joint meetings alongside an upcoming joint education that we plan to hold that will involve the Master Federation and the COA. For third quarter irrigation, work orders are slightly down with 1,000 compared to a little over 1,300 that we had last quarter. We completed 342 monthly inspections, and again, would like to point out that this actually marks 3 full years of monthly inspections that have been completed on time, which is quite an accomplishment. We processed 66 alterational requests and handled 30 emergency calls, and all of those emergency calls were answered within 15 minutes. Some of the repairs last quarter include 66 mainline breaks, 79 valve replacements, 26 lateral breaks, and 4 pump replacements, which include 3 in the Nantucket area and 1 at the Oxford substation. Most of the other repairs you see listed here are baseline components, and the reason for the failure of the majority of those is lightning strikes as usual. However, the good news here is, again, we have that 10-year warranty with Baseline, and over this last quarter, that saved us $23,662. I know we have mentioned this before, but I did think it was worth noting again for those who may not be aware. The Southwest Florida Water Management District's one-day-a-week watering restriction restricting water use to just 1 day a week is still in effect for Hillsborough County. But again, good news here that thanks to that Baseline smart irrigation system, Kings Point is exempt from these restrictions, so we're allowed to continue watering 2 days a week. And with the recent rise in temperatures and things heating up so quickly, we're certainly grateful to have that exemption, and that's why we thought it was worth mentioning again. We continue to move right along with pattern and coverage. Final inspections have been completed for all of the Andovers, all of the Bedfords, Cambridge HI and J, Dorchester A and B, Fairfield A, B, E, and H, Gloucester A through G, and Gloucester P. Associations that are completed but pending final inspection are Gloucester C and Fairfield C, and the associations currently in progress are Gloucester J and Dorchester A and B. The field audits are scheduled to be completed by June 1st. Once we receive the reports, we'll be able to provide each of the associations, this applies to the associations in section 3 and 4, we'll be able to provide you with your part cost. We expect to have those reports in late July or early August, and we'll begin calling you in and go over those with you at that time. Another thing that we mentioned before, but again worth noting, we negotiated with our suppliers and manufacturers to obtain discounting prices for the parts on this project. To date, we've saved $237,422.89. We still have 2 sections to go, so the overall savings on this whole project is going to be fairly significant. And then in addition to those savings, we also negotiated rebates, and to date, the rebates have given us $17,243. Other repair and maintenance, we removed 17 trees, raised the tree canopies above Master Roads 15 feet and 12 feet over the sidewalks. We replaced our annual plant beds with an English-style garden. We completed quarterly pressure washing, took care of 2 drainage issues, replaced 3 grates, filled 16 potholes, and repaired the apron on Clubhouse Drive at the golf cart bridge. And we also repaired 8 street signs, repaired or replaced. And again, those are the signs that you guys keep mowing down, but we keep putting them up. All right, we've got quite a few upcoming projects. Right now, we're finalizing the list of roads to be paved this year. We're tentatively looking at scheduling the project for mid-June, but the dates and list of roads will be published as soon as those plans are finalized so we can give you as much notice as possible. We are also working with our landscape architect to come up with designs to improve the landscaping at the front gate medians on Kings Boulevard to Hammersmith, the roundabout at the Kings Extension, and the islands at the both ends of Belmont Greens. And also Hassel Park is included in those designs. Once those designs are complete and the snowbirds return, we will have those designs displayed in the clubhouses, and we'll e-blast them out so that you all have an opportunity to vote on your choice. As you all know, traffic continues to back up at our gate in 674. We are revisiting the possibility of expanding the visitors lane there. We're also reviewing our options to reroute the golf cart traffic away from the clubhouse and Kings intersection, which is the most dangerous intersection we have in here. In the fall, as I mentioned, our tax collector, Nancy Millen, will be back. She's going to host a Governance Day here in Kings Point, and she will have several different contacts here from the various county agencies for you all to speak to and ask questions. Also in the fall, Hillsborough County Commissioner Michael Owen has asked to hold a town hall here in Kings Point, exclusive to Kings Point residents only. We're looking forward to that. Mr. Owen is also working with us on the erosion issue and clearing of Cypress Creek. I was told yesterday afternoon that he had some good news for me on clearing this one portion of the creek that we're the most interested in. His aide is setting up a call, hopefully for later today, so I'm hoping that by the next meeting we'll have some good news to report there. Of course, we're still trying to work with Club Link towards extending the lease on the closed golf courses. We have about 3 years left on our 10-year lease, so we're anxious to get that extended. And then we are also working on a Veterans Memorial for Hassel Park with the intention of this project being funded completely by grants and donations. And just a couple of reminders, it is alligator mating season, so it is crucial to please stay vigilant. Remember, these are wild creatures, they're not zoo animals. Keep your distance if you encounter them, especially near the water's edge, and exercise caution when walking your pets. And of course, never ever feed the alligators. It's not only dangerous, it is illegal. And if you are caught, we will report you to Florida Fish and Wildlife. You could be fined and even face a misdemeanor second-degree charge. So please don't feed the alligators. If you do notice anyone feeding the alligators or any type of nuisance behavior from alligators, please contact our office and we will report it to Florida Fish and Wildlife. Also, thanks to your efforts, reporting vehicles on sidewalks has proven to be effective, so please keep it up. We really appreciate it. We've noticed a considerable decrease in the need for sidewalk repairs. Your photos are really invaluable as they allow us to promptly notify the vendors of the issue, allowing them the opportunity to take corrective action with their crews. Also, I don't have on the slide here, but I did want to make a note as your adorable grandchildren come to visit you for the summer. Again, please remember that the new Florida law mandates individuals under the age of 18 possess a valid learner's permit or a valid driver's license to operate a golf cart. Please prioritize safety and adhere to this law, which will help ensure the well-being of your family, yourself, and our residents. Another reminder, submissions for the news of Kings Point can be submitted to kpnews@kpmaster.com. We're looking for Volunteer of the Month nominees, information on KP clubs, questions for a pet vet, and or any other community-related stories of interest that you think might be good to have in the paper. If you do have something, submissions must be received by the 15th of each month, and that's to be considered for the following month's issue. And of course, all submissions are approved, space permitting. Our next board meeting will be held on June 12th at 9:30 a.m. Please note the location change due to the theater renovation, so we'll be in the card room in this clubhouse on the 12th. Our Master Association workshops are held the first, third, and fourth Wednesdays of every month. Those are at 9:30 a.m. in the North Forum at the 2020 building. This is where the board really does all of the work. They talk about the day-to-day operations, a lot of good information here. I realize you may not be able to make a meeting every week, that's a lot, but if you could attend these from time to time, you will find them valuable. Also, we hold the President's Roundtable discussions the last Wednesday of every month. Those are at 2 p.m. in the Ripple Room, again in this clubhouse. This is open to all presidents and board members, and this was designed, we don't accept more than 15 people, so it was designed to allow you to have one-on-one, ask any questions that you want to the board in a more intimate setting. Also, if you haven't followed us already, please do so on Facebook. We are getting more active there and putting out a lot of information, so if you want to stay updated, you can follow us at Kings Point Master Association. Also, please, this is an important notice. Note that the email address for Kathy, I know a lot of you have questions and communicate with her, but her email address has changed. It's now Kathy@kpmaster.com. We will send this out in an e-blast so that you all have it. But just so you're aware, as of June 1st, the email that you're currently using for her, the Vesta email, will no longer be effective. Okay, and then I just want to make an announcement because I assume during open forum that we may have some questions about it. So just to address the issues, many of you have noticed the lack of maintenance of the berms in Section 3. Despite consistent upkeep for 2 years, Brightview has informed the Federation that they have discontinued their maintenance of these areas. That was roughly 2 weeks ago they stopped. They are citing property line delineations, which often split the berms right down the center as their reason for discontinuing services. These berms were initially constructed by the developer to provide privacy for the associations, which is why the master has a berm policy in place. The policy has been in effect since 2017, and your section landscapers appear to have been following it throughout this period for some reason up until now. Currently, the Federation is engaging in discussions with Brightview to encourage them to fulfill their contract obligations and continue berm maintenance as they have done for the past 2 years. We are hopeful that an agreement can be reached, as failing to do so will result in significant expenses for this community. Essentially, it would duplicate the cost for services you're already paying for. The other landscapers I have already been put on notice are standing by, and they are waiting to follow suit if Brightview is allowed to get away with this. We appreciate your patience and understanding as we work through this issue. Rest assured, we are committed to working with the Federation to help find a solution that ensures that the continued upkeep of our community's aesthetics and value remain in place. And with that, I'll turn it back to Jim. Thank you.
My lucky. Very good report, Shauna. I would just say that I did notice you mentioned Dorchester A and B twice, both finished and waiting to be finished. So.
Oh, they're A and B is finished, C and D is the other one.
Okay. Just showed I pay attention, that's all, you know? Next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Jane?
Unfortunately, we have not received the final accounting for end of year from Vesta, so I will have to postpone my treasurer's report until the June meeting.
Very good. Good report.
Short.
Next is committee reports. Our committees are required every 3 months to give an update on what they're doing and what we're doing wrong and that. So who's first?
Pond committee's up first.
Pond committee, Rob Davies, please.
You're doing everything right. Thank you. Where do you want me?
Wherever you're comfortable, either way.
Where I can see. Good morning. I just thought I'd start out with just a little statement. All ponds in Kings Point are part of a stormwater management system that's the first step in the treatment of our drinking water. And I just learned that from a seminar that I attended at the University of Florida, that we start treating our drinking water as soon as that water hits our ponds are supposed to start filtering the pollutants out. So that is step one. They decrease sedimentation, pollution of waterways, prevent flooding, filter sediments, pollutants, and provide a diverse wildlife. And they're all a result of the Clean Water Act of 1972. Thank you for the opportunity to report on the work and the goals of the Stormwater and Pond Committee, and we appreciate the support of the Master Board in these endeavors. The following ponds have been involved in the Hillsborough County Adaptive Program this year, and we actually started with planting some of the ponds before the Pond Committee even started 4 years ago, and that was Pond 100 at the corner of Vilmont and New Point. But the following ponds if you get to know me, I don't know anything except the numbers of the ponds here. So we planted recently the south end of Gainsborough Loop, pond number 1. Oxford 1 and 2 is ready for planting, and we are putting a contract together with Solitude. 24 and 25 in Acadia Greens is close to planting. These all have designs from the county. And as Shauna said earlier, the county has been providing us with free design services, which is worth thousands of dollars. Pond 106 and 115 in Inverness. 106 is going to be planted tomorrow. We're going to put more than 4,000 plants either on the surface of the lawns near the ponds or in the ponds. Yesterday we removed a lot of the torpedo grass. And ponds 106 and 115 are completely funded by grants and donations. There's no master money involved at all in those ponds. And Rich Tomasky and Paul Hubert deserve a real pat on the back for being really, and what's most interesting is when we first went to plant some things in pond 106, Rich Tomasky came out and said, "Don't you plant anything in my pond because you're going to ruin my view." And he turned out to be the most strong advocate for this program of anybody. Ponds 108 is, we have design on 139, 140, 153 in Richmond. They are all club-link ponds, so they need to come up with their own funding. And we're working with the Pond Committee Grants Group to do that. 14, it needs design, and Pond 5, right behind the vehicle storage area, just came forward. Thank you, Tony, and wanted to get involved. So totally, we have 19 of our ponds involved at some level in the Adopted Pond program, which I think is amazing from where we started. Given the funding of the program is limited, this year the funding is limited to about $10,000 per pound, so we're looking at the north end of Pond 1, 19, 24, and 25 in Oxford. And we will continue moving forward, so we have designs on all of our ponds here, and then depending on how funding is, we'll do a multi-year type of activity to get these things funded. And obviously we'll continue to work on grants. And ClubLink has been very helpful with us in terms of allowing us to use their ponds for the program also. So what we will eventually have is, hopefully, is all of our ponds meeting all of our regulatory requirements and doing what they're supposed to do, which is treat our stormwater as a first step in having clean water. The Pond Committee is big on educational things. We had 4 seminars this year, a couple of Pond 101s, a presentation by Ed Sherwood from the Tampa Bay Estuary Program, and one by Dr. David McMahon, who developed over 100,000 ponds across the world. We continue to distribute stormwater systems in your neighborhood, which is a document from SwiftMud, Southwest Florida Water Management. It's on our website under kpmaster.com/ponds, and you can all access that. We have sent copies of that to all the presidents 2 years in a row, and we will continue to do that. And there's other educational materials on the website. Please take advantage of it. Some of the UF videos are fascinating and very informative. The county just provided us decals to mark our storm drains, about what's supposed to go into our storm drains. And what's supposed to go into our storm drains? Stormwater, nothing else, nothing else. So when you see somebody leaf blowing their leaves in the storm drains, no. Washing their paintbrushes, washing their car on the road or in the driveway, no. Wash your car on the lawn. You want the water to go into the lawn for filtering. We've had one resignation from the committee, and Maggie Illy has resigned, and Sheila Raskin is being recommended to replace her on the committee. Our committee members now include Ann Whitehall, Janice Rousseau, Paul Hubert, Rich Tomasky, Georgina Smith, and Sheila Raskin. The master board agreed to expand the scope of the committee a little bit to look at some of our stormwater management issues, and David Reed volunteered to take a look at some of those. He was very active on the emergency gate committee, working with a number of people to look at how we are as the low spot in the Cypress Creek watershed. He and Sheila are starting to just do a drive by each one of our ponds and look at what the sedimentation problems might be in the inflow and outflow pipes and the condition of our weirs. To date, we have received an Audubon grant of $12,000 from Adaptive Pond Program with design and plants, Florida Lake Management of $3,200. Tampa Bay Estuary Program, we applied for $12,750. Not sure if we're going to get that or not, but we have done pretty well in that area. Future activities, expansion of the Adaptive Pond Program, participation, maintain the Adaptive Pond Program. Everything you plant doesn't grow. So particularly with the county program, they have a 3-year commitment to replacing anything that doesn't grow. We'll continue to research additional grants, and particularly in stormwater management activities. We'd like to see a little bit greater involvement of Kings Point with the county flood control activities, because there are grants from FEMA and the state in flood control. And as I said, we're at the bottom of the Cypress Creek watershed. So when you think of all the upstream development that's happened in the past 8 years that I've been here, we have paved almost everything upstream of us. Now, technically, all that water is supposed to stay there, but don't bet on it. We want to continue our educational activities. We want to take a look at our existing pond contracts and maybe look at different pond contractors to see what they have to offer. We want to explore credentialing staff and committee members on stormwater and pond management activities, because University of Florida's got a number of credentialing programs or continuing education credits, and I think Shauna already decided that she might take or did take a class. And the final thing is we usually, a lot of people call me up with pond complaints, and I work closely with Kathy on pond complaints, and we try to take care of those as quickly as possible. And the final thing is that we really want to make sure we're doing best practices, best management practices of our ponds, so that we're in compliance with any regulations that we need to be compliant with, and we're doing a good job of filtering our water and putting good, clean water into our aquifer and making sure that what comes out of our faucet is healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Next committee report is Finance Committee. Please. Good morning.
I'm sorry, Jim, but I have questions for Rob.
The questions will be at the end if you wanted
Very good, thank
an
you.
open forum.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Finance Committee meets on a quarterly basis to review the actual expenses versus budget, as well as income versus budget, and helps to prepare the Treasurer's report given to the Board of Directors. During budget preparation, the committee meets on a weekly basis as needed in order to prepare the annual budget in November, which this year was only an increase of $2.81. And then the budget is presented to the board for approval. Of course, if the board has any additional projects, the committee to research, and then the committee would meet accordingly. Thank you.
Next is Disaster Planning and Landscape Committee. Miriam Mika.
Hello. Oh, yes. Okay, let's talk about disaster planning. Not that you haven't heard about it in the last month or two, but I would just like to let you know that the committee began our meetings, and I'm addressing the board since this is board report. We started on February 15th, 2024. We prepared for 2 big meetings. One was the association workshop, and the other was the disaster planning symposium. And then we also went through and updated the list of projects and established committees. We reviewed project plans for the year. We assisted the Radio Club in buying and placing a new antenna for use in the community, which is being done. We also took a visit last year, and I think if you were in the symposium group, you heard that we went to Matlacha last year. During that time, we heard about Starlink. We already knew about it, but it came to the forefront during that meeting that we had with a woman who was actually involved in Ian's hurricane. So we jumped right on it. And the Starlink system, the master has purchased the system, and the committee will now work with establishing the process and procedures for utilizing that system. We will research and consider developing a local alert system for our KP residents. We will work with the county and others who have maybe put that kind of a system in. We will produce a new video. Last year, we put the video out, and again, you saw it from our trip to Matlacha. We will review the status of potential disasters, and we're currently going to review the disaster planning website for updates, accuracy, and send e-blasts as necessary. We will prepare for the annual events for 2025, and we're racking our brain to find some creative ideas to draw more people to those events, because we know how important being prepared is. At the association workshop on April 10th, we had over 200 association members come. The presenters were members of the community and the committee. The association handbooks were handed out and to the attendees, and they are available on the master website under disaster preparedness. At the symposium on May 1st, we had over 250 people in attendance. The presenters were individuals from the county, state, local clubs, and services. They all spoke about the resources available to our residents in case of a disaster. We will continue to work throughout this year, hoping that there are no disasters to prepare for in 2024. Okay. Now, Landscape and Irrigation Committee. As some of you may recall, last year the committee undertook the responsibility of researching and overseeing a bid to process for a landscape architect. After careful consideration, we recommended the master should hire Fieldstone Landscaping. And since then, the board has been diligently working with them on the designs. However, there have been a slight delay in the process, and Shauna mentioned some of that, some of the things that are happening. The master is exploring the possibility of expanding our visitor lane at the front gate, a project that consists significantly impacting the area we are designing. Therefore, we need to wait until a decision is made on this project before finalizing the front gate project. Once all designs are finalized, we will present 3 options, as we've said in the past, to the community. These designs will be shared through an e-blast and displayed on easels in the clubhouses to everyone to view at the community. For the community will have the opportunity to vote on the design choices. Following the selection of the final designs, our committee will begin meeting regularly and initiate the process of researching companies to evaluate and execute the work and complete an RFP for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Long Range Strategic Planning Committee. Eileen Pico is the chairperson.
Thank you. It's been interesting. Planning, we look at as definitely a process and not an event. We are really looking at our community and understanding that we have to be a fully integrated community with all of the elements working together. It was very good to see the joint meeting that Shauna mentioned between the boards of the Federation and the Master, and we're pleased to see that. It does go along with the recommendation that we had made regarding creating a formalized group. We called it fondly the Kings Point, what did we call that? PAC committee. Kings Point Action Committee that would be consisting of members of the boards and members of the management companies as needed, as well as some residents, to meet regularly to help ensure that we have an integrated plan. Because what we have learned over time is that sometimes what each entity does can have unintended consequences for others. And if we're going to stay fully integrated, we all got to be working together. Now, there have been a lot of comments in the past, or thoughts, questions in the past, of, well, why don't we just merge into a single entity? We have gotten legal opinions on this, and the conclusion is that because of the complexities of merging into one entity, it appears, as they said, it appears it would be more fruitful to try to explore other means and methods for resolving any conflicts in a mutually acceptable manner. So that's what we have tried to do, and have put together a recommendation to form a committee of jointly developed members, and that we would, and that they've started with their joint meeting, and that we could maybe develop some operating procedures that would live beyond just these boards, and operating procedures that say maybe, you know, there's regular quarterly meetings and this is how the structure would be for this entity. So we have been working on that and plan to provide that to the boards for their consideration. By the way, our committee does have liaisons, and has had for the past 2 years, with members of the Federation board as liaisons to hear what we're doing and to provide input. Currently, Director Shirley Bardell is the representative to the planning committee, so that they can stay in touch with what it is that we are doing there. Other things that we have done or have been working on is, what?
Go ahead.
Oh, he said, okay, one of the things is external impacts. When you look at the what's going on in surrounding areas. There are many external impacts that can affect us. For example, the Sun City Center has developed a community master plan vision, which you've seen or heard about in the news. There's the Ruskin Reimagine, Revitalization, and Redesign of the downtown area, which would be right next door to us. There's also the Waimama Community Planning that was started in May of 2022 that has them redeveloping there and creating a downtown area. And the South Shore Chamber of Commerce that used to be the Sun City Center Chamber of Commerce is now merged with Ruskin and Waimama, and now there is the South Shore Chamber of Commerce. All of these things can affect us in a lot of ways, external, outside. We have been working with Shauna, and she and I have been attending meetings of the Real Estate Forum, which is a group of realtors that meets regularly. We've also been in attendance at several other community forums so that we can stay in touch with what is going on around us. Because as I said, planning isn't just an event, it is an ongoing process. In fact, one of the things, and I ran across this, that goes back to July of 2022, when we discovered that the Hillsborough County multi-use mobility path impact was going to have golf carts running right past our roads, our main gate. And fortunately, it was 60% done when we found it. And we jumped on that, and the board jumped on it, and I believe stopped that process. That hasn't started up again, has it? Oh, good. Because it would have created add to our existing traffic problems. And as I mentioned, traffic's just another one of those things that the growth and development in the surrounding area, I mean, look at the traffic, we're all complaining about it. And, you know, it's affecting our front gate and it's affecting all of us. So being involved in what we are calling external impacts is something that we are recommending that the boards work on. And we will be happy to take a lead as the committee to work with them on the analysis and impact of those kind of things. We also had talked about in our last session back in November, community education. Our people are new to living in a condo or an HOA, and it's important that they know what they're getting into. And a lot of people are, you know, what we have now is just the annual association director training, and that's insufficient. Now, fortunately, the Land Trust also does, the rec facilities, does have a monthly welcome to the community, and here's all the rec facilities and that you can use. But we really no longer have, since COVID, any formalized education for our residents. And so that is one of the things that we started doing research on, and for not only our residents, but also for new board members. So one of the things that we're researching, the Community Associations Institute has many best practices that we started researching, and will be presenting information to be part of the foundation of community education. Also, the HOA Leader group, which is a national group that specializes in education. So that's another thing that we've been researching. We'll be getting some information this summer to the boards to consider. Let's see, what else? Oh, it's our last comprehensive resident survey was in 2012. That's been a long time ago, over 10 years. So we are recommending, because there have been so many changes in cultures and in the evolution of the generations that are moving in, that we are recommending the development of a new resident survey to see where we are and give an opportunity for all of our residents to give input to what we want this community to be now and going forward. So we started to reach out to these universities, but if you've been watching the news, there have been some recent events happening that have kind of other directed their focus. So, but we are planning on continuing to reach out to them and also to look into the feasibility of some other professional research firms. These things need to be done independent of people who are residents of this community. So we're proceeding with that, but we did get a little bit of a stop there for the moment. And then, of course, we have looked at the whole issue of the technology development. And one of the things that the disaster planning group and the radio have done an outstanding leadership job of bringing us forward in this area. But it seems that we have a lot. If we need to look at technology going forward, not only for disaster planning, but for complete, how does that affect our community? What are people looking for? And come up with a comprehensive technology plan that, that involves Spectrum and Verizon and the Starlink and everybody, so we're recommending a task force of people. We have people here who are familiar with the technology industry to begin to put together a task team to do some investigating and build on what has already been done by the disaster planning and radio team. So those were some of our main things. I was told to stick to 2 or 3 minutes, so I'm sitting down now. Thank you.
You took 6. Thank you. Those are our committee reports. I would just have 2 things to say. I don't like to talk too much, as most of you know, but you have heard our general manager. You have heard our committees. The question everybody asks is, what the hell does the master do? Why are they here? Well, that's what we do. Remember, Ruskin is doing a makeover. Waymam is doing a makeover.
We're not a city.
The CA is doing a makeover. Kings Point's the only one that waters 2 days a week because the master planned on it by modernizing the system. I'm not going to take credit for it, but it was my idea. But when you look out your window and see green lawn and green shrubbery and that, right over Valley Forge, and take a look there, you will see why we did it.
Is that your
right? We'll get complaints. You didn't want to be because it rained out, so you shut my water off. Yeah. We save as much water as we can. We're under a permit by the Swiftmud to cut our water consumption in certain areas of Kings Point by 2/3 for irrigation. We're still managing to keep everything green. So that's what the master does. We have to adopt a pond. That's what the master does. We have the finance committee that finds out where we can cut money. That's what the master does. Plus, all committees are overseen by a director of the Master Association. We don't get enough credit. I'm getting old, I want credit now. I don't want any more. Yesterday was my birthday. I'm 84 years old, so I'm still going. So But that's what the master does. We will work with the Federation to make sure that everything that you pay for is handled correctly, both by the master and the Federation is trying to do it on their end. We will stay in our own lane. We will be your public works. We will not be your Federation contracts. We will not be the clubhouse staff. We will stay in our own lane, right?
That's right.
Right. So that's what we do. Now we'll continue. I ranted. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the Volunteer of the Month. We are very fortunate. We have 2 volunteers here, one for April and one for May. Roger Johnson and Jackie Potts. Our April Volunteer of the Month was unable to make it last month, so we have the 2. Roger, a resident of Idlewood for a decade, has contributed significantly to Kings Point. He has served as Vice President of Idlewood, President of KPW, and is involved in numerous community clubs and activities, including the Pottery Club, archery, pickleball, and performing with the blues band Down Home. Jackie is a resident of Gloucester K for 7 years. Has been an outstanding asset to our community. She has served on her association board for 5 years, alternating between treasurer and director roles. Additionally, Jackie volunteers with Samaritan Services, Meals on Wheels, Sun City Center Emergency Squad, Nearly New Store, and her church, embodying the spirit of service and compassion. Their dedication and commitment to serving our community are truly inspiring. Congratulations, Jackie and Roger. Would you come up, please? I got prizes for you.
Thank you.
Jackie Potts is the Volunteer of the Month for May. Would you turn around so that...
There we go.
Roger Johnson is the April Volunteer of the Month.
He broke mine.
Use a nail.
Gets you another friend. You made me feel bad, Jim. I was going to give you mine. She's there.
That's right here.
Okay, thanks. We'll get you another friend. I'm fine.
Thank you. Can I have a round of applause for these two gentlemen? Thank you. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our treasurer to make a presentation to the radio club.
Good morning. We are here today to present a check of $40,000 from the Master Association to the Kings Point Amateur Radio Club. This funding is not just a gesture. It is an investment in our community's safety and resilience. The Kings Point Amateur Radio Club has been instrumental in enhancing our disaster preparedness efforts through their innovative disaster radio program. This program, which allows residents to call for help using handheld radios when traditional communication channels fail, has been a lifeline during emergencies when cell phones and internet services are down. Recognizing the importance of expanding this program to better serve our entire community, the Master Disaster Planning Committee has recommended funding for the purchase of a new tower and antenna. The current infrastructure is outdated and inadequate. limiting the program's reach and effectiveness. By upgrading to a new tower and antenna, we will extend the program's coverage to encompass all of Kings Point and establish a dedicated communication channel for managers and vendors during the cleanup process post-storms. In times of crisis, communication is paramount. Being able to effectively communicate after a storm is not just a convenience. It is a critical capability that can save lives and expedite recovery efforts. The investment we make today will strengthen our community's resilience and ensure that we are better prepared to face whatever challenges may come our way. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to the Kings Point Amateur Radio Club for their dedication and commitment to the safety and well-being of our community. Your tireless efforts are truly commendable, and we are proud to support your mission. On behalf of the Amateur Radio Club, for this presentation, I'd like to introduce Joe Flack and Tom Grace.
This is Val and Jackie now. One of your Tom.
I'll be in the middle. Thank you. Here's your check. Congratulations.
Thanks to the board.
Thank you.
You can't put that through the vacuum.
Positive on mine.
Next item on the agenda, before I begin asking for motions, I would like to announce, we're excited to announce a significant change in our association's management. After thorough deliberations, the Master Association has chosen Armitage Lifestyle as our new management partner. While we valued our relationship with Vesta, we believe that this transition will better address the evolving needs of our community. One of the key factors in this decision is Artemis Lifestyle's ability to provide tailored solutions, particularly in financial management. Unlike our previous system, Artemis offers flexibility in reporting, allowing us to customize financial reports to meet our specific needs. We're confident that this change will lead to improved efficiency and effectiveness in managing our community affairs. Your patience and support during this transition are greatly appreciated as we work together to ensure a smooth and successful transition. Could I have a motion to ratify the approval of a 3-year contract with Artemis Lifestyle for $2,500 a month?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Chris and a second by Jane. Other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, I do would like Shauna to introduce our new management team.
All right, Bob.
Hello.
This is Bob Moreland from Artemis.
Good morning to myself, but more importantly, this is Diane Skinner. We're Artemis Lifestyles. We're based out of Kissimmee. We just do Central Florida. We do a lot of association management. We're excited about being in the Tampa market. We've got a couple properties around the area. Our role here at Kings Point will be providing resources. That included, I heard talks about educational resources for board members and our team as well. We're going to be supporting the on-site team with all kinds of training, any kind of tailored accounting software or any kind of tailored accounting practices. We've got a whole room full of CPAs and masters of accounting, and they can make anything work with whatever tools that you guys need. We've also got some web dev teams, to where I heard some technology conversations. In the event you guys need something custom, it is probably inside of our wheelhouse to look into that for you as well. We're gonna kind of loiter after this meeting. In the event you guys have any specific questions for us, we're happy to answer them for you. Does that cover most of it? All right.
Thank you very much, Bob. Welcome aboard. Next item on the agenda is a motion to appoint Susan Robert to the Finance Committee, Jerry Stanford to the Strategic Planning Committee, and Sheila Raskin to the Pond Committee. Do I have a motion?
Yes, yeah, need a motion.
Second.
Second, please.
Rodney.
Rodney is second. All those in favor? Aye. Welcome aboard. Next motion. Item on the agenda is a motion to approve the labor for the plans for Adopt a Pond program on Pond 19, Oxford, with Solitude in the amount of $2,508. Do I have a motion?
Motion, James.
Have a second? Second. Rodney, okay, all those in favor? Aye. Oh, that's good. Next item on the agenda is what you've been waiting for, open forum. Anybody have a question, please come forward. If you do, you have 3 minutes total, so I don't see anybody.
I have questions, Jim.
Go ahead.
First to Rob Davies. Question to you. Relative to all of the issues that you've experienced in the pond, particularly the last several years, one, I want to congratulate you for your diligent efforts. It's great that you do these things and try to educate the community. Obviously, funding is going to be a huge issue going forward, and I'm looking very much forward to your August report and what your budget's going to look like. But at this point, my question to you is, particularly with hurricane season around the corner, as a pond committee chair, what is your #1 issue or concern?
Flooding. Too much water. The biggest thing that I see that we have to deal with is flooding, because as the chair of the Emergency Access Committee and then with the Pond Committee, all stormwater management in Florida is about keeping the water where it is. And all developments are supposed to keep the water where it is. And when this place was designed, there's a certain amount of water that went into the ponds over here, and then we did the expansion of the other ponds. And the ponds are 40 years old. Many of the ponds are 40 years old, so we've got sedimentation. So the original capacity, let's just take 1 million gallons of water. 1 million gallons of water was the design criteria for all the ponds in Kings Point. And all of a sudden we get 1 million gallons of water, and we have a permit that allows us to discharge into Cypress Creek and Little Manatee State Park, which is good for us. Most places don't have that. But the problem with that 1 million gallons of water, let's say out of that 1 million gallons, our design criteria was 800,000 gallons, and 200,000 gallons is going to run off into the creek in the park. So now we've got our 100 ponds, what are we at, 89 ponds? Yeah, I counted the other day, I think it's 89 ponds total. And over a 30 or 40 year period, those ponds fill in. They fill in because of dead material, leaves, sand washing into the storm sewers, and just erosion of the pond banks. If you look at our pond, almost all of our ponds do this. Our ponds are supposed to do this on the slope. It's just supposed to be a nice straight slope into the pond. And because we haven't planted the shorelines, all the shorelines are eroding. So all that material that was on that slope are now in the pond. So now that 800,000 gallons may be 600,000 gallons. So then you couple that with all of upstream development, and let's look at 301 and 674 paving over the past 3 years. Where's that water going? Were there retention ponds or detention ponds or swales built to deal with all that sheet runoff from those paved surfaces? And I don't see any of that. What I see is all that water is coming toward us. So my biggest concern is flooding. So when Mary Ann says, if you got a choice between staying and going, you want to think about flooding. And it's not just flooding from a hurricane, it's flooding from one of these little thunderstorms that comes along and all of a sudden dumps 8 inches on you. But our ponds were most likely designed for a 100-year flood, which is 12 inches of water in 24 hours. But I've got videos of 8 inches of water with the water just underneath the bridges that go on the golf cart bridge and the closed bridge behind KPW. So I'm concerned about flooding, and we have some flooding already. We have flooding at the end of Gloucester because that pond really is filled in quite a bit. And that's where, you know, if you want to make an enemy, talk about dredging pond 2, because that's where the Sandhill cranes have their nest. And that little island there, that is really about filling in the pond because of erosion. So flooding is my biggest concern.
Thank you, Rob. Jim, I have questions for every board member, so just keep that in mind as you go forward. Excuse me, very committee member.
Thank you very much. And hello? Thank you very much. Thank you. That was a great answer. Learned a lot. My name is Tom Louisbrand. I'm president of the Huntington Association. And I have 2 questions. First one, we live along Pond 108. For the golfers, that's along hole 3 of Ibis, between Huntington and Corinth. And there's a lot of, because of the hot, warm weather, the pond has been developing a lot of scum on the north side. We don't have a bubble or a fountain to keep the oxygen in the pond. And I was wondering if the master has some type of program to alleviate that, something to add to it, to sprinkle on it, or how do I initiate if they do have something?
First of all, I think the pond you live beside is the Club Links pond, it's not our pond.
That is true.
So our programs would not have, could involve Club Links. We do have a program. If our contractor tells us we don't have enough oxygen in the pond, we do put aerators on the ponds that are lacking. However, it's Club Link Pond, we would not put aerators on that.
Who would I talk to about that in
Club Links. You can call Shauna and she can give you the number to call Club Links.
They utilize the same lake management company that we do. It's the same guy. I can put a word in his ear, but obviously he doesn't take direction from me. So if you reach out to me, I'll get you Club Link's email address.
Thank you very much. Okay. And the second question is when I moved here 3 years ago, I was told no fruits or vegetables. So my wife, in our yard, behind the condo, so my wife and I got a garden plot. And now I'm president, and I found I have a neighbor that has fruits and vegetables. And I looked for the rule that says no fruits and vegetables. And it's not in the bylaws, it's not in the Florida statutes. Where is that written that I can show the neighbor that she's violating?
I hope that, again, that is your association's responsibility, not the master association.
I would speak to your CAM at First Service and see if they can help you find it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Rodney, you.
Okay, Mary Ann, could you come up to the speaker, please? In this case, the mic. Thank you. Mary Ann, you did a great job with both presentations to the community and to the board, and I want to thank you for that and your diligent effort that you have had throughout the years. My only suggestion is when it comes to the community, and again, the age of the community and building codes, that somewhere along the way there'll be a map developed that kind of illustrates the issues with wind. But my question to you is, Kings Point Boulevard, how important is that to this community in a disaster and preparing for same and ensuring that we have ingress and egress into the community and out?
Well, obviously, it's very, very important, and this has been an ongoing issue. That really does not go into my disaster planning per se. I would say that there have been issues brought up with the master board, with the whole community, and it needs to be addressed. Certainly we know that the exits, there's only 2 exits. We know the conditions of each exit. There has to be more lobbying done for the back exit because that floods very quickly just with a heavy rain. And the front exit is still, can be a big issue because we only have 1 exit, but we really need to talk about how we create another exit or how we substantiate building the 2 exits that we have and making sure that we can get out of the community when necessary.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, Alec?
Everybody gets a turn in the hot
Go ahead.
Again, I want to thank you for volunteering and doing the work that you do. My question to you is, what can this board do to help you in what it is you do for a finance committee?
I would suggest you should sometimes sit in our meetings where we really struggle getting or going the right way. So open up our questions to you instead of just going to you and present them to you, that one of you guys would sometime sit in.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry about my German accent, Swiss accent.
Eileen? Oh, wait a minute, David wants to say something?
David Farrelly, Grantham Green County, also, I'm a member of the Finance Committee. And Rodney, your question is very appropriate. I think one of the things, and hitchhiking what Alex said, is I think this board needs to support your treasurer more. To have our financial numbers for the ending quarter not being right or accurate, be able to present here, is not a fair thing to say. Now, our previous management company, it's good to see we have a new one come on, but they are paid by us or by the board. We should demand that they have their reports ready and accurate and responsible for the community. We're talking about millions of dollars that need to be accurate, and I think the board could support the treasurer in a more forceful way to make sure that that happens with the management company. Hopefully our new management company sees that issue.
I would like to comment. This board is always directly involved with our treasurer. All the decisions about she goes through the budget with us like a fine-tooth comb. And if we ever try to spend more money, she gets on our butt and says, look, you're gonna be over budget. So don't insinuate that this board does not support our treasurer, because we do 100%. Thank you very much.
I did not insinuate don't support. I said more support. We're dealing with the management company to get the reports out on time that we can look at as a committee and handle with you. Thank you.
Sure, David, and if I...
That's it, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, one more. Eileen?
You don't have your case.
Eileen, thank you for your efforts. You've been doing this for a long time and certainly appreciate it. My question to you is, I saw the chart that you created, and my question is, has Shirley and the Federation Board weighed in on that chart at this point?
The organization chart that was in I'll tell you that variations of that kind of a model have been out there for quite a long time, and this was just one simplified version of it. And yes, the feedback we have gotten over time is, yes, we need to have a cohesive, organized way, and yes, the Federation members have been fully part of that, about coming up with an organization that kind of pulls things together and helps everybody understand if there are issues that have unintended consequences, that would they get surfaced and fixed. So yeah, that has been something that's been looked at for quite some time. It's been on previous reports to the master, and the Federation has been involved in those discussions.
No, my question is, this specific Federation board, and Shirley as a liaison, have they seen this and signed off on it?
No. This is an example, I believe, in that we said that to come up with a common concept that is documented in operations procedures. And that's what we are recommending, that be the next step, and working between both the Federation and the Master Board in coming up with those operating procedures.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Don't spend that all in one place. So. All right.